What's going on, YouTube? So with the new reactor update that recently hit, there were a couple weapon patches as well. One, and my favorite, being the Perforator. So used to, the Perforator would deal extra damage based off of enemy shields, based off of enemy types. Now it has been changed to a unique ability called Detect. Detect essentially makes the Perforator launch meteorites whenever you hit a critical hit and a weak point attack. You get 5 meteors for a critical hit and 1 meteor for a weak point. So if you crit on a weak point, you get 6. It says the damage, firearm damage, times 35%. This scales very similarly to Greg's and the Thunder Cage as previously discovered. Activates something called Detect. Detect's duration is 10 seconds, and when an enemy is inflicted with Detect, the weak point damage is increased by 10%. So as we see here, without a crit and just a weak point, you get 1 meteor. That meteor spawns Detect. If we shoot this weak point, 304,000 versus this weak point, 293,000. So 10% more damage. You will notice that the little fireballs spawning off are insane, and they are. There is a reason I am on Hailey. Hailey, I do believe, is the best person to utilize this because since it spawns on crit, you can turn all of your firearm crits into close to 100% with Hailey. With a properly built Perforator, you can get her stuff up to 95.1%. This is pretty much the highest one that you can get. Blair is extremely high as well. And then, obviously, you are doing some mad damage.
Hold on a sec.
Crazy, you ask? Indeed. But it goes even better with her first ability. I do believe that the Perforator is now best utilized on a character that can increase critical hit chance. This would be Hailey, of course. You have VALBY Supply Moisture mod, Blair's mod,
Arsonist.
and Enzo all have critical hit increases. A note on critical hit increases, they are applied on the base. So on Hailey's third ability, firearm critical hit rate increase per stack 2.5 times 16 will give you 40% to the base. This 40% is then multiplied by any critical hit increases on your gun. This is my current build for Perforator. You can sort of get more utility if you sacrifice a little bit of damage for either more magazine size or better reload. However, I would like to talk about Special Sight and all of these special modules. Special Sight increases the weak point damage, and so does weak point expansion. If you'll notice, the amount of damage that the meteor does is 35% of the firearm damage. The first 458,000 damage you'll see comes off and deals 22,000. That is simply because the weak point expansion module is not proccing on the meteors that spawn. So if you have a weak point expansion or another special mod that is increasing the damage that's coming off of your gun, this is not going to increase the damage of the meteors. So if your numbers are feeling off, that is why. But fear not, of course, you still have an insane gun. Now, because of this particular thing, I do believe that instead of a weak point damage module, a module like Payout would be even better because then you don't have to reload and you don't have to worry about stacking reload on the Perforator itself. So if you want to sacrifice a little bit of damage for more reload, which in turn would give you more damage, Payout is, of course, the go-to here. There are 2 weapons for Hailey that are talked about pretty much everywhere: Piercing Light and Perforator. If you have Payout on Perforator, yes, it does stack with Hailey's 4th ability, Zenith, and you can get free rounds off. Please do not go YOLOing free Zenith rounds into Colossi's chest because you're just going to frenzy the monster and everyone will be mad at you. Time your shots it's better to hit one shot where you want it than two shots where you don't. So if you're going to use the Payout Perforator Zenith combo with Hailey Sniper, which using, of course, the new reactor, you can put Piercing, Light, and Perforator on your new reactor and have a good time anyway. This, I believe, is a huge buff for not only gun Hailey, but of course Perforator as well. Another thing I would like to showcase is the Perforator inside of all of the Void Intercept bosses, specifically on a firearm critical hit descendant such as Hailey. The Perforator is not only now better for ads, it is also now better for Void Intercept bosses. You can see the 0%. Comets raining down. And the sheer amount of damage. Now, the only downside is the same reason everyone hates it whenever you use Greg's, and that is that it enrages the Void Intercept boss basically immediately.
Need to recharge my shield.
But the amount of damage that you can do with the Perforator is irrefutable. So a really good strat I would like to talk about is VALBY. So whenever VALBY casts her water puddles, the water puddles actually snapshot. Whenever an ability snapshots, it snapshots with the amount of damage that you have casted it. With the new reactors that just came out, you can now have 2 reactors on VALBY, making Supply Moisture basically the best module that you can put on VALBY, almost hands down. Before, there was a toss-up between Supply Moisture and Hydro Pressure Bomb and some other stuff, but now it's just Supply Moisture, because imagine you can snapshot Supply Moisture with the Peacemaker. The Peacemaker gives you a 50% increase in attribute damage, so now you can snapshot all of your water puddles, stand in the water puddles, swap to Perforator, still having a mount on your reactor, because that's how the new reactor system works, and then you can shoot off the Perforator rounds with high crit because of Supply Moisture. This is one of the very many strategies that you can employ that I intend to employ with Perforator in my coming futures. If you have any questions about Perforator, drop them in the comments. I did this. I do a lot of stuff on Twitch. If you're interested in that, check out the link in the description. Check out my channel if you like the way I do content. Consider subscribing. Y'all have a sick day and peace out.